This session is part of the introductory series of talks by Mathew Costin. The title of this session is Defining Love of Self, Part 2. It was recorded on the 28th of May 2019 in Pyrmont, New South Wales, Australia, with the assistance of Thalia Skopoulos.
Starting?
Yeah, we're going to start. Let's do it. Wait, I'll just make sure it is 8 o'clock. I think this is everyone that's coming tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay.
It's like the Game of Thrones ending when they're all at the table with all the new people. They're like, shall we do it?
Yeah, and they're like, sit down, uncle.
Secret code,
Yeah.
like a little Hydra code.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I think I understand what Jose was trying to say. Like last week, the session was all about developing your own will, right? Free will,
Yeah.
and being uncontrollable and not letting anyone tell you what to do.
That confronted me last week.
Yeah, let's
I
have
think I got extra sick from that because I was suppressing it. Yeah.
And it's interesting, a whole heap of people this week have been, you know what I mean? Their will has been in some kind of way.
Yeah, this is very
shape or
interesting.
form.
You know, it's interesting that a lot of people who come, their will's been challenged this week.
Yeah, I think.
And pressure's been applied to people. You know?
To not come.
Yeah, well yeah, to not come. And it's interesting to see, to be like, okay, well, what's the loving thing for me? You know, like what's my personal desire, and then just act on your personal desire, and just like follow through and be like, I'm allowed to do whatever the hell I want actually, and if it's unloving, there'll be a consequence, and I'll learn if I'm humble. So yeah, just homework wise, how did you guys go?
Oh, sorry. Damn it.
Because it was the two things: looking at humility and looking at free will, right? And just seeing like, do I really feel, and am I practicing in my life, like just choosing to do what I want to do and then doing it, and not letting yourself be controlled by others. Yeah.
Well, I personally, yesterday during the day when I listened to because I listened to the recording of the last one in the morning, and then the rest of the day I was mindful of my emotional state and that kind of thing. And then especially towards the night when, alright, look, I'll be honest, I spent like 3 hours watching the like Hodor Game of Thrones reaction scene, just like from all different people every time. And like every time I felt like that, oh, this is sad. Then I was like, oh, well, like how sad do I actually feel about it? And then I just sat there and just assumed, let's say I know nothing about how I feel about this, how do I just feel? And then I just kept crying and like coming up and like really was more affected by it than I actually had initially thought. Like until I stopped assuming I knew how I felt and just came from a place of not knowing and asked, how do I actually feel? And inquiring, and then it was given that permission to come out.
Cool. How about you with humility, babe? How have you been?
I can't think of any examples. I mean, I don't think I can talk about it at the moment because I think I feel proud about it. But Chris wanted to rep with one of the girls, and he's like, so, you know, if her partner's not good, just get me up. And the partner wasn't good, so I got him up, and then he was doing his Chris thing, and then I turned to the class and I was like, hands up if you think she's got an ego. Everyone put up their hand, and then I was like, hands up if you think Chris has got an ego. Half the class put up his hand. I was like, that's right, take away your egos.
Right.
Yeah. So that was shit scary for me.
Right, just to be like bluntly honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
For Chris, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
So wait, I'm reading the thing, and humility is humility about being uncontrollable, or is it
No,
about
no. So it is that you're not allowing your emotionality to be controlled, but humility is about everything that you feel it,
Yes.
and that is one of the most primary basic things, the most beautiful things that you can possibly do to love yourself. Actually,
This week I realised I don't do that at all, and that the last 3 weeks have been great for me intellectually, but I've been so afraid to actually experience anything these last 3 weeks. That's it.
yeah. Good for you to say that. Yeah, and you guys have been going through a bunch. Nikki, you've been going through a lot. And
So
you
in a week it's gone 720 degrees.
yeah, like you've become a lot more humble.
Yeah.
Like I feel, you know, it's been up and down all over the place, but like gradually your progression has been, you become more humble, and you're also actually starting to establish a sense of your will, which is really impressive.
So it takes 28 years, eh?
Doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as we get there in the end, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's get stuck into it then more. So, thanks for your donations. Those of you guys who donated, that was awesome. Thank you. There, depending on how many, like at the moment, we obviously don't need a new location because there's less people this week. Last week it was getting a bit like absolutely chockers full. So yeah, we'll just play. Like if it gets to the point where it's consistently like pretty full, then yeah, I've been looking at like some community centres and stuff like that to maybe do it at.
How much are they?
Like $30 an hour. It's not terrible. Sort of like probably do it for like 3 hours and have like half an hour either side to set up, and then finish and then pack up. Yeah, and just have like a crisp sort of 2 hour session. Which is what I'm hoping like going for tonight as well. Yeah, right. Okay, so just a brief, how much do we want to recap today? Is everyone pretty up to speed?
I feel like we are.
Yeah, I feel like all you guys are. So briefly, we remember that the balloon way is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's different about like actually growing God's way?
It's infinite.
Yes, it's infinite. What else?
Apparently it's easier.
It's faster. Yep. Well, actually engaging it is faster. Yes. Avoiding God's way is like not great. It's just
But it's still okay.
It's
yeah. Well, you're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
non-self-reliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it's non-self-reliant. So I've been trying to jump into that a lot more this week myself as well, you know, and being like, well, there are things that I'm doing that I don't actually want to do, and all information tells me this is a terrible idea, don't do it, don't jump, don't do that, and I'm just like, I don't love myself here, and just feel my fear and take a positive step forward in my life. Lots of fear this week. Lots of fear, lots of crying as well. So, yeah. Anything else about yes,
Can you
Nicoletta?
give us the examples?
Of what?
Of what you've jumped into doing this week?
Yeah, so just like giving away doing Uber, not having any idea how I'm going to support myself financially. It was just following my desires to help people and just being like, well, that's what I'm going to keep doing. And then also today, like sending some more stuff off to an acting agent, shooting some more like scenes and things, and yeah, I'm gonna meet up with, gonna have a meeting with her next week, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so doing that. So that's going well. Yeah, and just not allowing the world's belief of what reality is to dominate me. Because what we believe is what the world set up in terms of what's real, and this is how reality works, guys, and you have to slot into this, and actually being like, well, these laws that I'm talking about, according to God, are the most powerful. One of God's principles is hierarchy. In the hierarchy of all of God's laws, the law about receiving divine love is the highest law, apparently. The highest. So it's the most powerful. It supersedes every other law. So the laws that we're talking about, the ones that not govern, oh, I can't put my hand through this wall. They're lower laws, they're physical laws, right? And then, there's laws that govern how energy works and blah, blah, blah. And then, but the laws that actually govern how the soul operates are the highest, most powerful laws. So when you engage them in a humble, desirous way, you become the most powerful version of yourself at your current soul condition possible. And and as you learn about those laws and how they work for you, just like learning about gravity, learning to use gravity to your to your advantage. You learn about the laws of the soul and you learn how to use that to your soul's advantage, which is really awesome. So you become like a law master, really. Yeah, I like that. Write that down. Law master. Yeah. Because it's like every time humanity's learned, you know, like a new set of laws that are really quite profound, it's really moved humanity forward, and like particularly the sciences and stuff like that. But there's been different periods of time when even like the laws about like trying to own another person, for instance, in slavery, was a really huge shift. I mean, there's still like maybe 50 million slaves alive on this planet or something at the moment. 70. It's a lot. So we've still got an issue with slavery on this planet, which is pretty serious. But like overall, like most of humanity feels that that's not okay now, you know? And there are like laws of love involved that, even though we might not have discovered it, like the actual law involved, eventually we started to cotton on to, hey, this is wrong. But the more that we learn laws, the more empowered we become over time. Yes. So, I will continue, and I'm going to try and stay on topic today. Other times I haven't been so much. I'm sorry, like tonight, if I'm a little bit flat. I've been receiving pretty constant attack like all week, and I still haven't been willing to feel through all of my fear about it yet. I'm still working through that. So if I'm a little bit flat, my apologies, guys. I'll do my best to just try and give you everything that I can tonight. Yes. So we also talked about the grand delusion, that we believe that we know what love is, but we don't really. And there's all the evidence in the pain in our lives. And that when there's pain, it means that we don't know. And that we're actually in error. And when we're in truth, there's less pain. You know, who can attest to that? That like the more truth that you come into, the less pain that you're actually in. Yeah. Well, the more pain that you become aware of, but that doesn't mean you weren't in it before. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just grows like, it just grows deeper.
Yep.
Like you've got like, you know.
So let me explain something. It's a bucket. Your soul's a bucket. It's not a well.
Sorry, I missed what's the bucket referring to?
So it has a bottom.
Sort of flows.
No, so you can empty it.
Actually.
So if this is all the shit, in the bucket, you can empty the bucket. Because the thing is, like, if you think pain, and most of humanity thinks that pain is like, there's this like well, right? And like, it doesn't matter like how much, actual pain you feel, it's just going to fill back up again. And you'll never get through it. And you never get it done. It doesn't matter how humble you are, there's always just going to be more pain. So I wonder why people think that. That's a bit of a lead into, I think, it's the first topic that I wanted to talk about today. So. Yes! Thank you, Bede, for this. This is awesome.
You're welcome.
Alright. So, why would people think that pain, that the reality of pain as a human being is basically this really badly drawn well, a well of pain?
Buddhism.
Buddhism?
Yeah.
Buddhism believes that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
To an extent.
So religion?
Yeah.
So-
They talk.
Whoa. Pain is bottomless. Let's look at that.
What did they say? Buddhism?
Well, the first tenet of Buddhism is life is
Life is pain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why like
Yeah.
Buddhist monks put themselves through so much pain and stuff like that?
Well, they also believe that yeah, well, they also believe that the way to, like, you know, you have to overcome desire. Like, desire is the cause of suffering. They believe as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's the opposite.
And we'll talk about the difference between pain and suffering today too. Yes, Nikki. Why would people believe pain is bottomless?
I think because they see it in day-to-day life, you know, whether it's their family members or whatever, like even up to their grandparents, you just see them constantly, you know, you're going to be happy, but there's going to be pain, and there's going to be happiness, pain.
Pain
And
cycle.
it's like a cycle, and that's life. Everyone just goes, that's life.
Yeah.
Cycle.
No avoiding it. You're always going to have pain in your life. It's just going to get through that hump.
Right. So if you believe,
Part of
if
life.
you believe that pain is just going to be a part of life, and there's nothing that you can do to eliminate pain eventually from your life.
It means we don't have to do anything.
Well, what it does mean you don't have to do anything, but it also means the best thing to do is avoid it, actually.
Avoid it.
Ah, yes.
Because if you just believe that there's no way to reduce the pain that you're in,
Just pretend like it's not there.
yeah, well, just pretend that it's not there, and every time that it gets shown to me, I'll get real angry and be like, I shouldn't have to feel this. Right? I do that regularly. Regularly do that. I do it all the time. I do the angry face and I point at God. Not that God's like physically like, fuck you, shouldn't have to change. I shouldn't have to feel this. All the time. That's probably the main conversation I have with God, is telling God how much I shouldn't have to feel something and don't make me feel it. And God's like, I'm not making you feel it. Like, don't make me feel this pain. Like all the time. That was like a few times a week at least. And then I'm feeling pain. Yeah. So why else though? Why else would we feel that pain is a well?
Love is pain.
Yeah, that's
The story is involved.
so people do experience pain, why? Right? Does that make sense? What kind of pain do people experience and go through on a daily basis?
Existential.
You mean just like, does that mean, you mean like from existing?
Yeah, from having certain ideas of how certain things should be.
So like from their beliefs or whatever?
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
Wanting control.
Okay, so control. I'm going to put beliefs in a slightly different section. Same way.
And fear of death as well.
Yeah, fear of death.
Injustice.
Oh, fear of death.
Alright, I'm going to explain something. There's a difference between a cause and an effect. Does that make sense? I'll write it down. It's important. And if you guys bought something to write it down, just write it down, cause and effect, so it starts to sink in. So everything in this universe is, and in the physical sense as well, it's not just in the emotional, like spiritual sense, but in the physical sense as well, there is a law of cause and effect. That everything that happens is an effect of some cause. Does that make sense? So the law of cause and effect. So what do you think that most of the pain that people run into in their daily lives is? Which one of those? Effects, right? So most of the time, what the kind of pain that we spend time engaging with and avoiding and feeling a little bit of, and then being really upset, and then it comes back again, and it comes back again, and it comes back again, and you feel a little bit of it, and then it comes back again, and there's this cycle of pain that happens, right? And it's a cycle of effects. So, look, I feel the major reason that people believe this is a well, there's a number of them, but I feel like this is one of the primary reasons why we believe pain is a well and not a bucket, is because we only ever really connect to affect pain and affect suffering. But there's a cause. So when I draw the bucket, right? It's kind of a funny bucket. Looks like a teacup. Little handle. I'll kind of explain it in a funny kind of... It's not exact, okay? So just bear with me for it. This is what happens with us, all right? There's these causative emotional feelings inside of us, our beliefs, our whatever, right? They're causes that exist down here that then cause all of this pain and all this shit to happen on the surface, right? So if we can call this, we'll call this effects, right? This orange stuff is effects. And then what happens in our life is we keep skimming off this orange stuff. So we're skimming off the effect pain. And that's what we're constantly being presented with. And that's what we're constantly dealing with. But because we're so resistant to pain, we don't allow this effect to take us deeper. So all we're trying to do all the time is we're desperately just trying to like skim all this pain off and be like, oh, I'm better now. But then it just comes back because it's been caused by what's underneath. So it just comes back again. And every single time that we try to get rid of pain, oh, what happens? Oh shit, now there's more. So now there's more affect pain because this problem's just festering even more. And the fact that we're in even heavier denial of the causal problems inside of us, it just gets worse and worse. And because we never see this, we only see this orange stuff, we think it's a well because it keeps coming back up. Doesn't matter what I try and do to address my pain. And this is also like even people, even like with psychology and stuff like that as well. People like, oh, it's a mental illness. Let's treat it. Let's manage it. And physical pain, let's manage the amount of physical pain that I'm in.
That's still just skim it off the top.
Yeah, you're still just skimming it off the top, and it's just going to come back. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through that process anymore. I don't want to teach that process anymore either, because it's bunk. It's crap. Make sense? God focuses on the why factor. Often what we want to talk about is what with God. This is happening. This is happening. Please, God, please. And like we'll be begging, like, please make, like, my son's dying of leukemia. Like, please fix him. Please make it go away. Please, please, please. I'll do anything. Right? And people are like, oh, it's a mother humbly praying for the life of her child. God's like, what if you just asked why your son's in that condition? And then I can share with you the reason why. This is the reason, all this black stuff down here in your soul, in this bucket that's your soul, this is the reason why shit's happening. And God's like, the more you grow a desire to get to this and feel this and deal with that, then God can help. Because God's not going to break the law of free will. Ever. He's not going to dominate your will. He's not going to force you. He'll gradually apply more and more and more restriction on your will, but he'll never cease it completely. And it's more apply restriction on the enacting of your will to cause harm to yourself and others. It's a protective way of protecting the universe from ever being destroyed by us and our arrogance. You know? Yeah. It's a good system. It's a parachute, protective parachute thing that's got going on. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about that? Yes, Kate.
So, to get to the cause, should we ask God why and He will? Because I feel like every time I try to kind of work through shit, it just like, I just deal with the effect. I know I haven't gone deeper.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you. This is. I'll make a new little image, and I'll show you. This is what people like to do. It's called intellectually skipping over a whole bunch of problems.
I didn't think they were in Russian.
I have no idea.
You do that accent too.
Yeah.
So we have an effect problem, right? We've got an effect problem, and our effect problem is I'm a male, women reject me. You got that one? Yeah, you got that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah. So this is how the law of effect, the law of cause and effect connects with the laws around humility. Okay? So what happens, because once you start to understand that there is a cause, put the cause down here, mummy.
Yeah.
Stuff with mummy, right?
Yeah.
When I was 1.5 years old. Some events happened. Some causative events happened that were extremely traumatic for me, and I was never allowed to grieve those emotions. Right? So, what we like to do, because we don't like to engage our emotional self very much, we like to keep the soul shut down. We don't want to discover that we're a soul. We're terrified of being a soul. We just want to be like this intellectually dominant robot all the time. Just terrible. It's so sad. I want everyone to start to feel, oh my God, I'm a soul. This is incredible. What? Like, what? What being a human being means is completely different all of a sudden. You know? So what we like to do is, because let me tell you, between you being in denial, let's say, let's go even higher. Let's go higher than denial. Let's go numb. Let's go numbness, right? Numbness. So every time a woman rejects me, I'm just numb to it. I'm like, oh yeah. Yep. This problem keeps happening in my life, but hey, yeah, whatever. Right? Right, so between numbness and just being like, yeah, numbness, and then like underneath that some denial, being like, I don't have an issue, I'm not in pain, this is ridiculous, like, I think this is bullshit, like, it just happens. Oh, there's no problem here. And then like, all the way under, there's like a whole bunch of different layers, right, that you have personally constructed. You didn't construct this. You made a choice not to feel it, but often you felt like your very survival was at stake if you did feel it. So that you have very good reasons to not feel it. So, and when we get to talking about some more of this stuff, I'm going to talk about having some compassion for your hurt self. Makes sense? Yeah. It's like, this was not a safe environment that you were in when this stuff was going on. But what we try and do is, we start to get out of denial to some extent, and we're like, okay, there's a problem. And then what we try and do is we engage our mind and we engage our intellect, and we go, what would this be? And it's like, oh yeah, my mum definitely, I know for a fact that my mum did these things. So then what we try and do is intellectually skip over all this stuff. You know? You just did that? Yeah. And like this is for the last 12 months, Nikki, that's been your major issue. Is that you've wanted to intellectually skip over this process of going down through the rabbit hole and feeling it bit by bit, layer by layer by layer by layer. Right?
It's like, I'm feeling about my dad, but nothing's happening.
So now failure raises a really good point. So what happens is we're like, I am feeling about the cause, I've been crying about my mum, but it's not really humble tears. And you don't even really know, you're crying about an idea that you're constructing inside of your head. And really, what you are, like every now and then you might come across something and you have like, there'll be some genuine emotion that comes out, but only what all the rest of this isn't suppressing. This is a big, heavy weight sitting on top of you. Have you ever seen like a person lie in a bed of nails and someone in a truck drive over them?
A bed of nails? No.
You've seen a bed of nails, right? And someone lies on a bed of nails.
No.
Like
on top of nails, person, truck.
Yeah.
Cool. No.
Yeah. well, this is like, it's kind of like that. Like there's that much suppression on top of you.
Ow. Ow.
Pushing you into like this pain, right? Like it's horrific. Obviously, if there's just one nail, it's not so good, but there's a whole bed of them, so it evens out, and you don't die. But do you kind of get what I'm saying here? Is like there is so much suppression that the likelihood of you getting to the bottom here is pretty remote. A little bit might come out every now and then because you might be open, but the majority of it you won't actually access emotionally. Yes.
How do you know the difference between what you said, genuine emotion, and what was the other emotion? Like it's not even like a
it's just like
emotion. How do you know? Because when you're feeling it, right? How will you know?
I'll get to that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll like that for you.
But it's all about your favorite subject, the law of attraction.
Yeah, cool.
That's how you know. That's how you know, because you'll see like something with the law of attraction shift. So explain that.
Cool.
So, cause and effect. How would I say this? The reason that I'm in numbness is because I got out of denial. The reason that I'm in denial is because I didn't want to even feel my anger anymore. I didn't want to own that I was even angry. Right? And the reason that I'm angry is because I didn't want to feel that I'm not getting my addiction met. So the cause of the anger is that I didn't get the addiction met. And then the cause of wanting this addiction is that I'm avoiding the fear. You know, and the cause of the fear is that I really don't want to feel this grief all the way down here, this terrible thing. So each one of these layers is actually caused by the layer before it. So unless we actually engage the process of feeling through all of our stuff the way that we constructed it, and going backwards, we'll never really get to the underlying, deeper, like core emotion inside of us. So we never, very, very rarely, and it's only very humble people that actually, and genuinely, people who genuinely want to see some change happen in their life, who start asking, why is this happening? And not why. So I could be like, I need medicine, this is why it's happening, I'm going to shut it down in my body. That's not really humble. I'm talking about the emotional reason why you're at a certain place with every single issue in your life. Does that make sense? How you going with that?
Oh man, how you going?
So basically what it means that we've got a lot of feeling to do actually. I'm just going to keep going through some of the cause and effect stuff.
A lot of attraction sitting right now. Like you used to love.
Yeah. So, I'm going to talk about like as far as the law of attraction goes, sorry, the law of cause and effect goes, I'm going to talk about some of the things that if a person loves themselves, how do they engage with the law of cause and effect? If they love themselves, they're going to feel effect. So whatever effect thing is coming into their life and whatever they're being challenged with and is being triggered inside of them, whatever, they will feel that. They will feel effect, but they will know that there is a cause. And they will trust that there is a cause, and that they will trust that this is a bucket, it's not a well. So you'll trust it. And you'll be willing to engage in the process based on your understanding that there is a cause to every single one of these emotional layers. and you'll want to get down to the one at the very bottom. You know? Alright. Yes. If you love yourself, you will endeavor to remove false beliefs and emotional injuries from inside of yourself. So if you really honor the law of cause and effect, you will understand that, okay, there's all this effect stuff going on and all this pain going on. I'm growing my desire to remove the reason why it's happening. If I love myself, that will be my goal. To get these deeper causes out of my soul. Somehow, eventually. Make sense? You want to do it, right? If you really understand the law of cause and effect in your heart, you will make that your big priority in life, because you're like, the sooner all this shit's gone, the happier I'm going to be. Like, you get that really quite strongly, don't you? Like, when that stuff comes up, you're like, I just want to get it out so I can be happy.
Yeah, because it's just like a volcanic eruption, and it's like it takes over you, and it's the only way out is to let it out and to just go through with it. Because even with like law of attraction, you just, if you're not dealing with it, it just pops up everywhere. And make sure that you deal with it, you know? It's like,
Oh, man.
Do you want to just go out and have a little feel? Because you're pretty... You can give
Or will, yes.
Yeah.
No, yes. Yes. Yes, I will.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
So you're actually obeying the law of humility by giving yourself a little bit of time and space. So you're loving yourself.
Yeah, yes.
In the cold. With no shoes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So now you will also seek to develop a foundation of love and truth in yourself, because you understand the law of cause and effect. If you love yourself, why would that be? How do you feel, Faye?
that you seek truth
You will seek to build a foundation of love and truth inside of your soul.
when you understand the law of cause and effect.
Yeah.
I guess because that, I guess building like a foundation of truth means getting out of denial. It's a part of, I guess, loving yourself. I don't know.
So basically, like, you've got a garden full of weeds, right? There's weeds. And this is all the error, the untruth in the garden of your soul. Let's say I'll use another analogy because I like them. As you are pulling these out, because you understand the law of cause and effect, instead of planting weeds, you're going to want to plant, I don't actually know what the plant looks like, so sorry. You're going to want to plant wheat instead, right? So when you plant something inside of your soul, it has a causative effect on the rest of your life. That's cause and effect. So we're used to dealing with all these negative causes inside of our soul. Like pain will, in error, causes in our soul, and then all the terrible things that it's causing. But all the wonderful things that's happened in your life is because of beautiful causes inside of your soul. How cool is that? You're not completely fucked. Like, it's great, you know? The fact that all of you guys, and I know every single one of you guys, including Jose, and I'll say that for like, out of the whole group, I feel like you guys are some of the people that have the strongest desire for truth out of all the people that are in my life, you know, particularly in Sydney. You know, you guys really, like, I see it in you, and it's such a beautiful quality. And you too, you know, like, it's great to have you here this week because you have that quality, you know, real, like.
I find it very interesting. I just found it super interesting that of all the days and weeks that I come, like, it's this one when like that big threshold got hit by a lot of people of like, oh, we're getting real close now to like picking away at stuff.
Yeah.
And then
That's
like,
right.
having these people here for today. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Mm. Mm. And that's not just, he's going for it. Listen to that. Yes. I'm one of those people like, it's funny, like I'm out in public and my friend starts crying and I'm like, yes! And people are like looking at me like I'm a sicko. Like, you don't know how long I've like hoped this person will feel this emotion at some point in their life.
camera. This man made this other man cry.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It gives me such joy. Yeah, yeah. So, if you love yourself, you will be super great. You'll be glad that you have already some loving and truthful causative emotion inside of your soul and causative substance inside of your soul, right? And so you'll want to plant more. And the ones that you've already got, what are you going to do if it's a garden? Yeah, you're going to water it. You look after them. You're going to feed the plant. You're going to weed around it. You're going to make sure that that desire or that thing that's starting to grow in you, that piece of faith that's starting to grow in you, like about God's goodness, for instance, or something like that, you are going to want to develop those things and build this awesome groundswell of like just incredible, beautiful, positive causation inside of your soul. How cool is that? You know? So based on the law of cause and effect, if you want to be happy, remove all of the causes that are in falsity, like that are not true from God's perspective, and replace them with truths, with actual truth. That's it.
Easy.
Well, it's simple. It's not easy. I don't personally find it easy. Yeah, I don't. Not at all. I find it really tough. Okay. Yeah. Right. You will also, if you love yourself as well, you will see this universe and everything that happens in your life as perfectly ordered. Who feels like their life's in chaos a lot?
Some areas.
Some areas, right?
But in comparison to other years, it's a lot more ordered than it was.
But the thing is, even what appears to be chaotic, though, if you really understand the law of cause and effect, even what appears to be chaotic is perfectly ordered because the law of cause and effect is in action. So this apparently chaotic fucking thing that's going on in your life is because you've got something inside of you that's causing that. It's not the universe doing anything to you. It's coming from inside of you. That's cool. Right. Kind of too bad that Jose really wanted to be here for the law of attraction thing, and now I'm going to go on to it. Cool. So now I'm going to actually start to move on to the law of attraction. No one has any other questions about cause and effect at this point? So law of cause and effect and law of attraction, they're like cousins. They work together. You know, and each of these laws, they don't overlap. They perfectly harmonize with each other and form this incredible system that facilitates our eternal potential growth and protects our soul and looks after our soul and gives it everything that it needs to grow and evolve over time, which is like it's been so expertly taken care of with an entire system that's completely infallible that exists that we can access and use. So the way that law of cause and effect works is, you could maybe say that cause and effect is a little bit like, cause and effect is like the package, and the law of attraction is the message. Does that make sense a little bit? So the law of attraction is a messenger of truth. Does that make sense? How would you describe that, Kate? the law of attraction being a messenger of truth?
I don't know. Just things that like happen in your life. If you're aware and open-minded to it, you can kind of get an indication of like what's going on in your life, the things you need to fix. And
Okay. Yeah.
you know, if
That's true. Come on back in, Jose.
Hello.
Hello, buddy.
What did I miss?
A little feel.
Just a
We're
little
just
one.
we're just about to we're just talking about law of attraction, just beginning.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, just a little one. I was like, no, I'm sweet. No, I'm not. And I was like, no, I'm sweet. No, I'm not. I'm good. Thank you.
Good for you, brother.
I needed that.
Yeah, it's loving to do that to yourself.
I think I realized a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. That's good.
So we'll get to something with law of attraction in terms of like what comes up, feel where you're at. Don't try and skip over, don't try and falsify. Whatever comes, however you get triggered, feel it. You don't like that, Kate. Sorry, it's got gore. You don't have to like it. It's still working when it's on. So the reason why the law of attraction is like God's messenger of truth is because the way the law of attraction is designed is this is the garden of your soul, and you've got weeds in here, and you've got, you know, healthier plants in here that are based on loving and truthful things. The law of attraction constantly reflects back to you what is going on inside of you, so you know. It's not a tool to help you get shit.
Oh.
Now you learn it. Now like.
I thought if I thought about getting envelopes of money for so long that envelopes of money would turn up at my door.
How many envelopes of money have turned up on your door
Well, I
lately?
started to think that. Sorry, Rhonda. Shit.
Yeah, but like, this is the thing. There's a massive misinterpretation of what the law of attraction really is on this planet. Because what we think and what's been taught by a lot of people is that if I think about something or if I feel about something long enough, I'm eventually going to get it and attract it into my life. You know?
Yeah.
And you can obsess about something and try and build like a vibration of something over the top of whatever's going on underneath. And there are some people who apparently appear to attract certain things in their life. But the only way that you're really ever going to attract anything better in your life is if something changes inside of you emotionally. Because the law of attraction never stops working. Now you can intellectually tell yourself something again and 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 again, and slowly by slowly it can start to enter your consciousness and start to affect the way your mind works and start to change. You start to pivot and see things slightly differently over time, and then more differently over time and stuff like that. And then slowly, it slowly like grinds away at the area inside of you. You know, and most spiritual practices are basically this: a consistent application of some kind of methodology that over time grinds into you, or like sort of keeps pushing into you certain information that eventually you start to absorb emotionally over time. But it's like, what usually happens is you just tell yourself something again and again and again and again and again and again, and eventually, or the causal emotion down the bottom never really gets dealt with fully. But you know, the effect of everything that you built on top is really quite significant at a certain point. And you know, this takes a long time to do, and you're welcome to do it. And God's like totally happy for you to do that as well. So that's one way that people like to approach law of attraction. Yeah. The reason why God designed it is so we constantly are given more truth, regardless of whether we want to have a relationship with God or not. So God came up with two different mechanisms to give us truth, personal truth about ourselves, that don't involve actually us wanting to have a relationship with God. So if you think about that, that's pretty awesome. So here's Dad, and Dad's like, even if you hate me for your entire life and you never want to have anything to do with me, I accept that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some mechanisms so you can still learn about my truth. And the truth, all the truths in the universe, and the truth about what's going on inside of you. So my hands are not touching you because you're not asking for it, but I'm going to give you these extra gifts so you can grow anyway. Even if you shun me, I'll still help you grow. Even if you hate me, I'll still find a way to get truth to you. Built laws, like a whole system of law about that to make sure that happens. Which is beautiful. It's a really beautiful thing God's done. Yeah. So, now, let's talk about the law of attraction for a sec. And we're still talking about it, but let's talk about what it brings. So, I'm a guy, I like it when girls think that I'm pretty cute. And then this girl comes along to me and she's giving me all this like, oh, you're so cute kind of vibe, right? Must be nice. And like, no, yeah, I like you, and you know, and we think, oh, that's the law of attraction telling me everything's great. Because I'm getting what I want. We're not really sensitive to what's going on. You know, if we're really sensitive, we'd be like, this is disgusting. Why are you projecting this at me? Like someone messaged me this morning and was like, hi, just wanted to tell you you're handsome. I was like, I just want to tell you you're being really unloving to me. Like, and I could feel it before he wrote it. I could feel this, like I could feel his intention coming through the Facebook, and I was like, this person is about to message something toxic and disgusting at me. And then they did. I was like, this is gross. Obviously, I still have an openness to receiving those kind of projections from men. It's pretty something I need to continue to look at. But you know, if you tell yourself that you like it still, when those things come along, you'll miss the message. And for the most part, what we do is we miss the message. Why? Because we're not engaging the laws of humility. If we're humble to really feel what's really going on as an event comes to us via the law of attraction, right? We'll be open. We'll want to know what's really going on emotionally. We won't want to play around in the splash pool and be like, isn't this just wonderful? Everything's great. We'll be like, I'm staying emotionally connected to myself, and actually, as much as I want this, as much as this feels like, as much as it appears to be everything that I've dreamed of, something feels off. And I need to honor that, and I need to feel that it feels off. So when we're humble, the law of attraction can serve its purpose. How cool is that? Yeah. Who lets the law of attraction serve its purpose mostly? Like every minute of every day.
No, not every minute of every day.
Well, mostly it makes me uncomfortable, and I don't like to be uncomfortable, so I...
Yeah. So you don't feel how much you don't like to be uncomfortable.
Yes. That's one thing. I'd like...
Yeah.
My way is like, oh, if I find the truth in this experience won't happen to me again.
Yeah. And that shows that you have some degree of understanding of the law of attraction and the law of cause and effect in your soul. So that's what I've been saying like since the beginning of last week. The more that we understand, the more that we actually love ourselves, the more we'll want to obey these laws and come into harmony with these laws so they can benefit us. Yes, Sally?
Oh, that's okay. I was just
Okay, right.
kind of
Yeah. So does that kind of make sense for law of attraction? So we need to be able to tell the difference between something that appears pleasurable, but actually, if we really connect emotionally, isn't.
Yeah.
Yes, Kate?
So do we have to be like aware of everything that like happens to us, or is
Yep.
it just like we have to be aware
Well, you
of
can
the-
choose
of
to
our
be aware.
addictions and just kind of like ask why I'm feeling this way, or why I think this is good, or why this is bad.
Well, you don't want to ask why to get the answer just given to you necessarily, because you'll just be getting it intellectually. I mean, you can ask God via the
Yeah.
conscience and God can tell you, but it won't really hit your soul
Yeah.
yet.
Okay, cool.
The reason being that you've got all these shields in between you and, you know, being able to receive some truth in your heart.
Okay.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I found like it, well, there was in the beginning, really like one of the laws that I mostly engaged was the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Because I literally had no physical person, direct person in my life too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just, like it was one of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, one of the major laws that I first started to experiment with was like just going with my law of attraction and allowing whatever feelings come up to feel that.
Mm.
So I think it's more so for me it felt like, all right, I'm gonna go with, you know, whatever's presented to me throughout the day and just feel what I feel and
Yeah.
not like shut it down.
Yeah, not shut it down.
If I feel triggered in some way where I'm angry at somebody,
Mm.
I'll just own it and feel it and
Mm.
hopefully not project it out to that person. But
Mm.
yeah.
So the cool thing is, if you feel things through, the cause will eventually
Yeah.
be revealed to you. So law of attraction happens, some girl comes along, she's like, hey. Right? And you're like, you let yourself feel that. Oh, this feels great. I'm getting this cool thing from this girl, yeah. But you let yourself experience that emotion. Because if it's not a loving, truthful feeling from God's perspective, eventually what will happen is the underlying error will surface. And you'll be feeling it and feeling it and feeling it and be like, I'm feeling this. Why don't I feel good? You're like, what? Because I honoured humility, so if something came up, I thought it was wicked. I'm like, yeah, everyone thinks I'm an awesome actor. Woo! This is great. Yeah, yeah. But just like allow yourself to actually experience that completely. You know? And when you have a desire to be connected and engage with the law of cause and effect, be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But you will have a desire that just is burning inside of you to always know why, to always discover why everything exists in your life. So you'll be feeling about it, and being like, I'm getting it now, but I've been so afraid all the way leading up to this. And then it's like, you know, something else is going to come up. So the thing is, the law of attraction an event happens, right? It's always happening, it never stops happening, but an event that catches your attention happens, right? Event happens, thought happens. Who sexually projects at people? Yeah, that's an issue that almost all of humanity has, right? So, an event happens, right? Let's say it's sexual projection at a person. I don't know where this is going to go. Whew, this should be interesting. Feel where you're at. Yeah, okay.
I skipped that part.
Well, we often try and go straight to the causation of it, right?
Yeah.
Event happens. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Oh, there's a cause and effect here. Why is it happening? Why is it happening? One of the major issues with like a lot of the higher laws that operate upon the human soul and humanity starting to discover these laws, one of the major reasons that humanity doesn't get it yet is because they're not engaging humility in the process. Humility is everything, man. I feel like God agrees with that. Yeah. Like, yeah. So an event happens, you feel where you're at, and then what's the next step? What's the next? So I'll ask earlier. So an event happens, you feel where you're at, and then what do?
Well, wouldn't you go off and feel your emotion, or is that what you mean by feel where you're at?
Yeah. No, so like you start to go off and you feel your emotions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that?
Yeah, I'm saying, well, what happens after that? You feel where you're at, and then what?
I'm just trying to remember what happened. Like,
So it's kind of a bit of a trick question, so I'm being cheeky.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's good that you don't know what comes afterwards, right?
I'm confused.
Yeah, because you remember that little thing that we do sometimes about Nemo, but Dory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just keep
keep
feeling.
So you feel small, right?
Yeah. So you feel where you're at,
Feel small.
That's our motto in this house.
and then you keep feeling.
I was gonna say that. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, I was gonna say because like sometimes you feel where you're at, but like you don't really release a cause. You just keep going, and then you keep feeling whatever keeps coming your way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So you've got a really good point. So when an event happens and it affects you, if you love yourself, will allow it to affect you. You won't try and be like, no, I'm going to control this now and control this event so I don't have to feel anything here. I'm in control, everything's safe. No, you'd be like, okay, I'm fucking terrified. And then that's probably about as much as you need to use your brain, really. You don't even need to actually work out what you're feeling. Because there's no event happens. Work out what I'm feeling. Feel what I'm feeling. No. And this is something that like I remember AJ explaining to me years ago, and I was like, didn't get it. Completely didn't get it. You don't need to know
why?
You don't need to know why, and you don't even need to know what you're feeling, really. You just feel it. And so you keep feeling and you keep feeling and you keep feeling. And if you're truly being humble, because this is a bucket and every layer of yucky, gross filth inside of you, like pain inside of you, when that gets released, it's gone. So you will get down to the next one. So when we believe that it's a well, we don't believe that keep feeling is going to give us anything positive. We're just going to be, I'm just going to be in fear forever now and I'll die in fear. I'm going to die from terror. Most human beings on this planet believe they're going to die from terror.
And most do. I feel like most do.
Well, it kills them in the end.
Yeah. It's a self-fulfilling. Yeah.
That's so damn cool.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Yeah, it does end up killing us, actually. Yeah. It's funny that the thing we're afraid of, we're dying right now. Yes, Nikki?
I was just going to say, being a person who has failed in doing this many times.
Yeah.
So let's say the event happens and you feel it.
Yes.
And then you're still feeling that same emotion.
Yes.
And then you keep feeling and you're still feeling the same emotion. It's not moving. Does that make sense? And then you're spiraling into this hole of just feeling that same emotion. It's not leading you anywhere. What happens?
Okay, so if it isn't leading anywhere,
do you just accept it as
no. If you're feeling it, if you're feeling one feeling for 4 hours, and you're just feeling, quite likely it's something that you're manufacturing.
A year and a half. You could be feeling it for a year and a half.
Yeah, you can be feeling an emotion, like a fake emotion, for a year and a half or longer, for a long time. And every time a certain thing comes up, you're like, a certain event comes up and you go straight into that same emotion. You just feel that. That's not really being humble, and you've actually created a fake thing. So if you're not getting through the layers eventually it's an indicator that what you're feeling isn't really your true emotion. Like you're avoiding what your true sentiment is. And the other part of it, and this is where the law of attraction comes in, because it doesn't just show you where you're at, it shows you if you're changing. So you go through a process and you get to something, and then my mum was always cold to me and kept me at a distance no matter what I tried to do for her. Let's say that's something that happened in your life, right? And you feel some of this. And then after you feel it, you're like, women start being much warmer to me. And like, not because I'm trying to give them something, like they're just actually treating me with more kindness. And they're not so cold and distant. And they don't mistrust me, and I don't feel so needy. And I don't get feedback that I'm being needy from them and stuff. And it's like, oh, something's shifted. The cause that existed in me that drove my neediness, that attracted these cold women into my life, or women into my life, women who are in my life to be cold towards me, has now changed. So that's partly how the law of attraction works. So if you love yourself, you'll be interested in what happens with the law of attraction. Do I continue to attract the same thing when I feel like I've worked through something emotionally? If nothing changes, I haven't changed. And I've got to go back to the drawing board and be like, oh, so what I thought I was feeling was some intellectually skipping over crap. So what I often do when I'm like dealing with an issue and I just feel like, oh crikey, like nothing's changing, what I realize is I want to feel a fake emotion. What does that mean about the real emotion? Because I was talking about this earlier, right? What do I then tell God? I admit to myself, whatever this is, I don't want to feel it. Because if I did, I would have. So for myself, in my own process, I feel I don't want to feel this. This woman's making me feel powerless. This man's making me feel jealous. I don't want to feel that. That's what I feel right now, is I don't want to. I don't want to have to feel this. I don't want to have to go through with this experience, instead of creating something and being like, meh, but it's actually just not really true. And nothing changes with your law of attraction. If your law of attraction isn't changing, it means right at the very beginning when you're getting triggered, or somewhere through this process, you're taking a hard detour to avoid truth and to avoid the real feelings inside of you. Make sense, Jose? Yeah. So go back to that, retrace your steps from when you took a detour into La La Land, and be like, this right here, I do not want to feel it, and then feel, I don't want to feel this. Yeah. And you just start the process again. But the feeling that you start with is not jealousy, because you don't want to feel jealousy. You just start with the feeling that's actually there is, I don't want to feel jealous. I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to be angry. Right? Or whatever it is. I don't want to be afraid. So, refusal. Wow!
The whiteboard doesn't want to either.
You ain't got no will! You ain't got no business telling me nothing! Well, it's definitely not the whiteboard's like, it's definitely not the whiteboard's law of attraction, is it? There you go. So, refusal is one of our major issues, just across the board, just an absolute blanket refusal to feel. Some people have a blanket refusal to feel anything, right? And you'll run into people like that, and you're like, holy Jesus, like you don't want to feel anything at all. You can feel, they just got a total refusal, right? Anything sincere, don't want to feel it. Only avoidant things do they want to engage. Now there are a lot, like for everyone on this planet almost, you know, has some of those things that they just absolutely point blank fucking refuse to ever feel. So that's where you got to start where you're at. So if you started and you worked down and then nothing changed in your life at all, then where you started was dishonest in the first place. So you need to go back and clear that up and be like, no, I'm going to be honest about this now. I'm just going to check on here. Alright, so now I'm going to go through some stuff with the law of attraction now. So, if you love yourself, you will embrace each event as a curious new lesson. Yes, Nikki?
Should we have a break first?
Well, I thought I'd just quickly go through these things and then we're going to go have our break. Okay, thank you. You will, does that make sense? That you will, yeah. So you're not going to be afraid. You will no longer fear what comes to you because you will understand that the purpose for it coming to you has been coded into the fabric of human existence and reality and the entire universe for your benefit. Not for your harm, for your benefit. Not to punish you, to educate you. And this is where we get confused, hey? And we think, oh no, it's going to be a fucking punishment for sure. And we place all of our experiences we've had with our parents onto God. And we turn God into the monster. He's not. We attempt to remain sensitive to ourselves and everything around us. Because we don't want to miss the message, right? So we're going to want to be sensitive the whole time. And it's such a beautiful way to live. Like the more that I shut down, the worse I feel. There's a certain level of sensitivity at this point I don't want to go further into. But when I go backwards, it's the worst. You know? Shutting down is a terrible thing. Yeah. And when you catch yourself after you've been shutting down for like an hour or like a week, it's full on. You pull yourself back out. You will clearly own that you are the creator of your life. So you won't be like, he did this to me, she said that about me, this is going on to here. Like, you won't be like, these people did, this group of people are trying to wreck our way of life, or you're messing with my religion, or like, you know, Tony Abbott's the problem with Australia. You're not going to believe any of that bullshit anymore, right? Because you are the creator of your life, not an external force to yourself. Law of attraction is not based on people doing things to you. It's based on what is coming to you as a reflection from this universe that God's created to you. So that's cool, right? If you love yourself, you'll start to let that sink into your soul.
Self-responsibility.
You will no longer try to control events in your life. Who tries to control events in their life? Yeah, so that shows us that we don't, as far as the law of attraction is concerned, that we don't really love ourselves. Because the only reason we try to control something is why?
We're afraid.
Fear.
We're afraid. Fear always seeks to control. Love knows love and truth, like knows that safety is built into the universe. And so there is nothing that needs to be controlled. The only thing you're going to do is take loving action, actually, and be humble. And grow your desire. You know? Next, you'll listen the first time. If you really understand the law of attraction, you will listen the very first time that it comes. And you will let it teach you the lesson the first time. Because you understand that's going to be the most painless option for you. If you let this trigger you now and you work all the way to the little bumpkin down the bottom, this piece of hurt child which is just in so much pain, the slightest hint, you'll be like, I'm on it. I'm doing this. Let's do it now. Before it has to be something like more and more painful. And what I've learned about God, because we're still talking about, God's laws are bringing me pain. Every event that we attract is the gentlest possible thing that we could attract in this moment in order to effectively teach us truth. Does that make sense? So it's like, there is no malice in this. The laws just exist, and they exist in the most gentle way possible. Far more gentle than the law of gravity. Right? The laws that govern the soul are very gentle in nature. Which is pretty amazing. You know, you attempt to break the law of gravity by a certain margin and you leap off this balcony over here and splat. You're dead, mate. You know? It's an instant, pretty full-on, harsh consequence. But the law of gravity doesn't have any malice towards you. And God doesn't have any malice towards you in creating the law of gravity. It just exists. And when we try to go against it, friction occurs. You know, there's a response from the law back to us, back to our physical body, and the laws that govern our soul. There's a response from the law back to our soul. When I say these laws govern the functioning of our soul and the relationship between us and God, it governs it. And when we try and push against it, you know, there's a reaction from the law. But the law doesn't have it out for you. And as I said last week, God doesn't have it out for you. He's not after you. He doesn't want to get you. Yeah, he's focused on the issue inside of you. Getting that out of you. And he's also focused on loving you. Right. We're getting there. Here we go. You will value the message of the more gentle reflections of your soul condition. Oh yeah, and not wait till they become more extreme. So we've covered that. You will embrace painful events as related to your pain, not to yourself as an individual. Do you guys get what I mean?
So, is it like a reflection of, like a painful event is a reflection or a mirror of the pain within you, not you as a whole or you as a soul?
Bingo.
Cool.
So, the fact that you don't have money isn't God trying to tell you that you're a worthless piece of shit who doesn't deserve money. It's trying to tell you have an issue with you, inside of you. Right? That is causing this problem. When you don't have any of the problematic issues inside of you, there will be not a single problem in your entire existence. Like, ever again. How cool is that? Like, I haven't lived it yet. I'm saying it as an idea. I haven't experienced it as an experience, but I'm definitely experiencing it gradually over time, and I'm seeing less and less problems in my life now. It's great. It's beautiful, actually. All right, we're almost there, and then we'll have our little break. Right. You will reflect when pain is experienced. So you won't just push it away. You actually soften and become reflective. Yeah. And then, as we talked about, you will measure your growth over time based on how your law of attraction events are happening. Yes, exactly.
So just to recap.
Yeah.
Law of attraction 101.
Yeah.
Event happens.
Yeah.
Feel the event, experience your emotions.
Yeah.
Keep feeling.
Yeah.
Keep feeling. Then from there, and there's also the side of trying to figure out whether that's the right emotions that we're feeling. Not right, but the genuine emotions to feel or not. And then from there.
So you don't need to try and work that out.
Okay.
At the beginning.
Okay.
You know, if you spent a whole month trying, like, feeling the same emotion every time and it never seems to go anywhere and your law of attraction isn't, then you're going to start to reflect more and be like, I must be lying to myself. I've got to go back to the drawing board and find out where I'm being dishonest. And this is when you can use your intellect to go back and be like, oh, and then engage emotionally and be like, oh, what's going on here? But your desire is, you have a desire to be like, all right, I want to find out what's going on. I have a desire now to know.
And then from that,
yeah,
the law of attraction will either present an event that will give you positive or negative feedback to that original sort of feeling.
Yep, so it'll show you whether you've changed or not.
Or you're meant to have a sort of light bulb moment intellectually of, oh, this is why, sort of thing, or meant to have some sort of realization or not.
There'll be some emotions, like for instance, when you're in your mother's womb and your father was really angry with your mother and projected rage, and your mother accepted that rage and it entered you, you won't necessarily know what any of that is.
Yeah.
You'll just feel some, like, and there's been a bunch of times where I've just like cried and I don't even know why I'm crying.
Yeah.
But it's felt pretty profound at the time.
Yeah.
And something's changed in my life. I felt different. Like, you will also, part of the law of attraction is you will feel different. You will feel a better, more beautiful, loving, real, honest, sincere, humble version of yourself. You will know that's occurring.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you give some examples of, like, maybe, you know, some people interpret the law of attraction of like signs from the universe, right? And shit just popping up.
Well, that's right. There are. But what we like to do is what we're trying to think. We think the universe is sending us an intellectual message of truth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're guilty of this one, aren't you, Alana? You're always thinking the universe is sending you intellectual messages of truth. And it's the same with dreams. We're like, oh, what does this dream mean? And how's it fitting with this? And what's going on with that? When actually, like, how you wake up is the message. How the dreams just made you feel, because it's about your soul. The law of attraction doesn't operate on your mind, it operates on your soul. So it's connecting to your soul, and it's providing you soul feedback. Make sense? Yeah. Great questions. Anything else about law of attraction?
Do you have any examples of, like, of the workflow of maybe something, an event that happened that caused you to feel X emotion that was like...
Okay, yeah. I've got something.
You were like, oh, then this happened, and that's my law of attraction.
Yeah, I've got something. So, I had...
I'm scared now.
No, it's just really random. It's just really random.
Okay.
I had a long-term law of attraction, multiple events of my car breaking down all the time for my entire life. And I was like, I don't even know what's going on with this. And like, but I'd always avoid the emotion and just try and fix it physically. And then like a few years ago when I was living in Armadale and I had my car trapped in this like underground car park and I lived 40 minutes away and it was winter and I had no way of getting home. I didn't know what I was going to do and everything was just like really full on. And like, it was a shitter of a car, like you had to punch it to make it start and all kinds of shit, like it was. Yeah, and I just couldn't get it to start and I just let myself go wild in the car. So I was like, fucking, motherfucking, fuck, like what? But I was so stumped, you know, I was so stumped. But even then I was kind of intellectually trying to work out why is this going on? But I was asking God, I was like, why is this going on? Why is this happening to me? I don't understand it. Right? And then like I was like asking, and then my guide mentioned something about me riding our horse with my dad.
Your guide?
Yeah, my guide, my spirit guide mentioned something like gave me this information because I was like, please, someone give me the fucking answer.
Then there?
Hey?
Then there, was that previously?
No, just right at that moment when I asked, because I was like, I wanted to, by that point, I was so angry about the continual breakdown of my car that I'd finally got to the point that I was willing to feel, or willing to even know intellectually what the reason was. Now, often what we'll do, because we're so afraid of going through an emotional process, is almost every time we'll engage some kind of an intellectual process along the way as well. And there'll be some bouts of emotion as we go through that. So there is an intellectual process that, you know, it's not necessarily required, but a lot of the time we engage it anyway. And often what we think is the cause turns out not to be later. And this is a prime example of that. So Spirit mentioned that I used to ride our horse with my dad. I had no memory of this at all. I sobbed for like an hour about how it was my favourite thing when I was little and how much I loved it and how much I missed it and then I never got to have it anymore and all of these things. And then like my car breaking down was to do with all this like unexpressed grief about losing this beautiful time that I used to have with my dad. And because my mum's projection at me was like, you're not allowed to grieve about your dad. You're not allowed, we just have to pretend that we're okay. And this is what we do. And I went along and I pleased my mum. And this I'm only understanding now as I'm talking about it. I didn't really put these dots together until just now. Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, you emotionally change and then you talk about it intellectually and you're like, oh shit, eh? Like a lot of this stuff that I'm teaching you guys, like I write like a little list, but I don't know what I'm going to talk about. It's just things that my soul now knows emotionally. And then I'm like, oh yeah. But I didn't know anything about like, what the fuck? How has a car breaking down got anything to do with riding your horse with your dad?
You don't remember riding your horse with your dad?
I do now.
Oh, you did
well, we haven't had a big cry about it. I absolutely did. But it was the last thing that was even remotely, you know, would have ever occurred to me. And if I tried to intellectually do that,
it's not like it.
I don't know if I ever would have connected those two dots. There was another time, I was walking through, like, because I've been praying about, have I been raped? Have I been raped? What's going on? So that's part of it as well, is like, you know, we'll talk about truth as well, okay? Because that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. But I was growing my desire for truth. I want to know the truth. Have I been raped? Have I been sexually abused? Did this happen to me? Did my dad do something to me? And I was like, la 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 la. And it turns out there is something about this particular animal being a messenger of truth, but it's probably just some crazy thing that like people came up with. But out of nowhere, a dragonfly, it sounds a bit woo-woo, so I'm sorry. A dragonfly came out of nowhere when I was walking in the middle of like Pitt Street Mall, but like a town version of it, right? So it's just like the central mall of the town where there's like hundreds of people walking around. This dragonfly, this red dragonfly came along and smashed me in the face. Just flew straight into my face, hit me in the face. And then and then it overwhelmed me emotionally, and for whatever reason, I let it affect me, but I wasn't expecting a dragonfly hitting me in the face to finally open me up and trigger me about all my being raped by my dad, but it did. And then for an hour and a half, all of this terrible trauma of all these terrible things my dad had done to me, I just sobbed in the middle of town, surrounded by all these people walking past me, probably thinking I'm a crazy person, but I was glad to get this pain out of me. I didn't care what anyone thought at that point. I was loving myself, and that's what counted. Yeah. And then like the level of my sexual neediness and sexual projection towards males decreased significantly after that. But that's compared to it being off the Richter scale, so it was still really, really, really high. And then recently I had another event where I moved through some more emotion, and Alana was really, and some of our beautiful spirit friends as well, and God were really like instrumental in helping that occur. The cool thing is that as you grow a desire to deal with a certain issue, like a lot of resources, because of your desire, end up becoming rallied around you. So we're going to talk about truth, and we're going to talk about desire after the break. Which, see how they all fit together? I didn't get this until I've been talking about it. I'm like, God's laws really fit together. And when you love yourself, you let them. Yeah, all right, we'll go and have a little break, like a 10-minute break, and we'll keep talking. All right. 1:32. We might not get through everything. We'll probably get through one more.
Turn us on for on the break.
Yeah,
what was that?
I mean, if you're...
Sorry?
No.
You're meeting the fear?
So this is what I'm going to say. This is what I was about to say. I was like, and I mean, if you are genuinely physically hungry and not using your addiction as food to suppress, and I thought, no, what, Jose, now you're using your food addiction to give an excuse of that, so we're all good.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we all go. I was like, you can eat, and I was like, come on, Jose, he's not going to eat, and you're not going to eat. Come on, man. That's not happening.
It's burger day, so that must mean something.
That's a little tricky. You get 3/4 pounders or something.
That's it. 3/4 pounder. Found a full ciggy the other day. Law of attraction. Remember when we were walking? I was like, "This is a ciggy, law of attraction." That's it.
Do you know what I used to just say?
I get you
Once,
on that.
be like,
It's a coincidence. Law of attraction. Coincidence.
yeah. All right, we're back on. Let's do it.
Each other.
Stop.
Now we're going to talk about a really awesome confronting subject. We talked about law of cause and effect, and we talked about law of attraction. Now we're going to talk about the laws of truth. Can you say it's a law of truth? Have you heard AJ refer to it as that? He has, right?
I mean,
Or law of truth, or laws pertaining to truth? Right.
sure. I mean, I personally haven't remembered him saying law of truth.
No. So I might say like laws pertaining to. But like, I don't know. There are a lot of laws that are involved in truth, I feel. But there's probably like a main one that I probably can't write the exact definition here. Yes?
Can I ask one quick off-topic question a little bit before you start?
Is it based on what we're talking about?
It's about laws, right?
Yeah.
The laws of like truth, attraction, desire.
Yep. Cause and effect.
Cause and effect.
Yep.
Any of these laws sort of documented or somehow communicated within the Bible? The reason I ask is because I was thinking and I was having conversations with mates, none of this came up, but I knew if it did, I'd be like, this is some shit I'm not going to want to talk about because they're very well equipped in the Bible, and I'm very ill-equipped in the Bible. Not ill-equipped, but like, I can't pull out quotes from my ass and be like, that's what it is. But I've found, I've been talking about my friend about the law of attraction, like even like last year, and I was like, do you believe in that? He was saying that there's a quote in the Bible that says like the thoughts will become flesh or something like that.
Yep.
And that's what I want to find out if like.
Yeah, that's part of that. That's definitely part of that. Demonstrates the law of attraction, for instance, the thoughts becoming flesh.
Yeah.
Also, Jesus talked about that the law being written on the hearts of men. Because you can have a law in your mind, but unless the law is written onto your heart, into your heart, which is your soul. So unless the law, the truth of that law, has entered you, you are lawless, actually. And God sees you as a lawless person. Yeah, welcome. Good question. All right, so back to the laws pertaining to truth. Who likes truth?
Oh no, take it back. Oh,
Yeah.
As long as I agree with
As long as you agree. Right, yeah, because you don't like. Yeah. Who has a desire for truth?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who finds truth confronting a lot of the time? Yeah. So we have like a growing desire for truth over time. Let's see how much of a desire, because when we love ourselves, we're going to be completely in harmony with the laws about truth. So who's completely honest with themselves 100% of the time? Nicoletta's like, no.
Kidding me?
Yeah. Alright. Who likes being honest with themselves?
Sorry.
Yeah, I do. I feel like I do like being honest with myself more and more. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So if you love yourself, you're going to be honest with yourself all the time. Who loves to chow down into a burger and be like, this isn't an addiction?
This isn't an addiction?
Yeah.
I love burgers.
Yeah. Right? Right? Who like having a conversation with someone and then they go to themselves, this is fine. Who does that? Tries to tell themselves midway through the conversation while their emotions are like, and you're like,
I'm okay.
2 more minutes.
5 more minutes.
Particularly if it's a conversation with certain people, you're like, no, I'll never get out of this conversation. But like, you're not being honest with yourself. You don't want to be in the conversation. You don't want to have the conversation. So you're suppressing truth. Someone who loves themselves doesn't suppress truth. They embrace truth. Who is completely honest with other people all of the time?
That's a long time.
Who is honest with people all of the time? Relatively honest with people all of the time.
I mean, define relatively.
You may not give all of the details, but you'll still be honest.
I think with
I'm getting pretty close.
I feel like it's like you.
Who never lies to a person? Yeah, I feel like I'm getting pretty close to not lying anymore. So if you love yourself, you won't lie. Why? Because you understand that there is a law. And if you love yourself, you're not going to desire to incur more penalties onto your soul. You're going to be like, no. When I come into harmony with the laws about truth, I'm going to receive benefits in my soul. Yes, Nikki.
Wait, just to clarify, you mean my truth? Because I feel like I tell people my truth all the time. That doesn't necessarily mean that the truth is my truth.
But the thing is, if you're not engaging the law of humility at the same time, it's not really truth. You're giving someone an opinion, but you're not giving someone the humble truth about you. Does that make sense? Really great question. So you can be like, yeah, I'm being truthful. You're a motherfucker. How you like that? Huh? You're like, it's truth. No. I'm really enraged and I just feel like blaming you. Now I'm getting closer to the truth. You know, and I'm feeling, and I'm like, I just want to hurt you. I gotta go. Alright, okay, now we're getting much closer to truth. You know? Now, as far as God is concerned, truth is this beautiful grayscale, right? No.
I thought so too.
Everyone's like, oh, thank God for that. No, it's black and white.
Oh wait, sorry.
It's vivid black.
I was thinking of, sorry.
Truth, as far as God's concerned, it's the entire truth. The real truth from God's perspective with nothing left out. Who wants that? Who wants to live that in their life 24/7?
Who wants to be black and white?
Yeah. Well, no. Who wants to live by and embrace God's exact truth about everything?
Oh, no. Sorry.
You don't.
Not now.
No, but you have an intention towards that.
Towards it,
Yeah. There's a difference between desire and will, and I'll talk about the difference between those things. So you have a desire for that, which is I have a desire. Who has a desire to move in that direction?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nikki does too. She's just writing.
No, I don't. I don't know if I do. I feel like sometimes I do, and then sometimes I don't.
So Nikki has a desire for that, but she's refusing to admit that she has a desire for it. Right? So she doesn't want to be in truth with the fact that she does have a desire for it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here in a much more humble condition than you have engaged this material before. Right, cool. Let's keep going through truth. Oh, this is fun. I like this. Yeah. Right. So you will be detailed in the revealing of information about yourself, including your unloving behavior. Now, you know, there's a few people in this room who know some things that I've done that are terrible. You know? And like gone into specific details about things. No. Often, like, when it comes to being completely transparent about every feeling and thought I have, every projection that I have, I still don't trust this law. I still don't believe that it's going to give me positive effects if I engage it fully. So if it's not the whole truth, it's not the truth. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, from every detail. So when we go and apologize to a person, sincerely, where, you know, we want to give them the whole truth. You know, if it's a gift to help that person. Does that make sense? You know, like when I went through and like fell through that rape stuff recently, it was the detail of all the things that happened to me over time as well, you know, like there's detail there. So you'd be like, look, I project sexually at lots of males. Yeah. Lots of like age-wise, ethnicity, weight, whatever, like I still project sexually at people, at males. I project sexually at females as well, at women, usually older women, who have a feeling of arrogance towards men. And try and win their approval by projecting sexually at them. So we become, you know, pretty darn detailed about our problems. You know? Because we know if we're trying to hide it from others, they're sure as heck aren't really going to feel it. And let me tell you, in terms of sexual shame and unloving things that I've done, I went through it and felt like part of that when I was willing to actually share the truth with people. So like rewind like a year and a bit ago, maybe a year, I don't know how long ago, you know, like I was living here and you know, I was avoiding my emotion and avoiding things that I didn't want to feel and like engaging in like dating apps and stuff, right? And then, you know, I was breaking the law of truth for like days often until finally I was like, there was a few times where really unfortunately, you know, like Thalia like was the one that ended up asking me, confronting me about it. But then there were other times when, you know, then I would share about it, but it's like having the willingness to really be forthcoming. Because we're so sure that we're going to get punished and treated like we're inferior. So with each of these laws, there's a whole set of beliefs that we have around these laws which make it feel so terrifying and impossible to practice these laws in every moment of our lives. And God's like, all of those things that you believe are untrue. That's why they generate fear. Untruth generates fear in you. Yeah.
Can truth generate fear in you?
No, truth exposes an error. And the exposing of the error is what generates the fear. So like you go to someone, you say, I'm your soulmate, and the person goes into fear about it. You know, it's not the truth that pulls them into fear, it's the error. The error of what they think that means, for instance, or what might happen in their life. They might get attacked. Who knows? There's lots of different reasons, but yeah. So we often think that truth, like, is going to bring, you know, like we believe that it's terrible. So like I had some serious like sexual addiction problems and stuff like that, and you know I didn't tell my wife for a long time. Years. How unloving was that of me to myself, even, and to her, but to myself. You know. And then finally I was willing to be honest with her. You know. And of course, she went through a terrible experience of pain. But it was the result of suppressing the lie and then suppressing the truth and living a lie and presenting a facade for all that time. And the terrible toll that it took on the people that I said that I loved. Don't be like me in that respect. Don't be like the old man. You know, love yourself. The whole time I wasn't loving myself. And as a result of not loving myself, I wasn't loving anyone else in my environment either. So right, now we have talked about it, right? So we also wanted to investigate, we also want to investigate the truth into what we do. We will want to discover and seek more truth and more information. So for instance, who has or has had pornography problems in their life? Yeah. Who's done a bunch of research into the effects of pornography in the world and what happens to people who engage in it? What happens to people's physicality when they engage in it?
No.
What happens to your brain chemistry? What happens to your body? What happens to the people? What happens to the victims of pornography? What happens to people who work in the pornography industry? An unbelievable rate of suicide. It's incredible. You know? And so what we do is we want to engage in things, but we don't want to seek the truth of the real effect. We don't want to know what the truth is of what we're actually causing now. Often. And if we loved ourselves, we would want to know, because we want all the truth so we can make an informed decision. But in the world we have such terror about truth. I feel like this terrible burden just landing on us. But it's not. It's not. It's not a terrible burden. It's a beautiful gift. We see the truth as like a spiky thing, when it's really this beautiful present that God's trying to give us all the time. You know? Truth is like something that we're all pretty conflicted about most of the time. It's a big issue on our planet. Right, let's continue. You will never hide, minimize, or avoid truth out of fear. So we kind of talked about that, right? We won't minimize the severity of what we've done. We won't minimize the severity of what our parents have done. We won't minimize the amount of joy and excitement that we feel inside of ourselves at a certain point. We'll let it explode. We will be real about, we will be truthful about where we're at right in this moment, you know? So it's not just all doom and gloom, because it feels doom and gloom, like, because it's very confronting, so everyone's feeling a bit confronted at the moment, but there's, like, even the apparently doom and gloomy things are actually beautiful, but there are lots of things that are, like, pleasurable that we deny truth about. How often did we get really excited to have, like, all these boundless, like, things when we were little, and it's like, no. Or we wanted to ask a question and it's like, no. Not allowed to know truth. Like, don't ask those questions. Who's been told not to ask questions in their life about certain things? And who knows not to ask certain questions in their family unit about certain issues? Might be something to explore.
Yeah.
To look at that. If you love yourself, you will challenge and expose other people's lies. I'm starting to do this now.
What was that? Expose or what?
Expose and challenge other people's lies. So who does that on a regular basis all the time?
I mean,
Pretty regular. With people we feel safe with?
People
Yeah.
we feel safe with.
Yeah.
how do you know where the line crosses between challenging other people's lies
Yeah.
versus being
Their free
unloving
will.
and breaching their
will.
free will?
Yeah. Well, you can give them an opportunity. You can say, hi, I've got some feedback for you. Would you like it? Or you can say, hi, look, I just saw you being like pretty unloving to your child. I'd like to like help you if you have a desire. You know, I'd like to help you work through this issue if you have a desire. You know, if someone is being like out and out unloving, then I'm more willing to approach them with a firmness and much like unwavering firmness, and be much more forthcoming in terms of how I'm giving truth to that person in that moment. You know?
Yeah.
If someone's walking around eating fairy floss and they're enjoying it and they're in an addiction with sugar, I'm not going to be like, you're in an addiction! You know, like, you are addicted to sugar! I'm obviously not going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know, yeah, if I see, if I walk into someone's bedroom and I see them cutting themselves, yeah, I'm going to address truth straight away. If anyone is in my home or an environment that I'm responsible for and they start pulling shit and they start doing unloving things, absolutely I'm going to address truth with them. Yeah. If I'm in their house, that's their environment. And their will is king. So if I don't like it, I can offer. If I feel resistance from that person, I can leave. I can stay and put up with it, or I can leave. You know? Because they're in charge of their environment. In their car, in their house, in their place of work, it's they're the king, they're the queen.
Cool.
Right. You will act to completely destroy your facade. Who's still really, really like attached to how the world sees them? Oh, that's been real tricky this week, let me tell you. Holy shit. It's honestly felt like I'm going to give up my whole dream of being an actor by teaching truth about God and mentioning someone like AJ.
So being an actor is really all about how people see.
It's all about image, right?
Right.
It's all about image, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Same with being a musician, right? It's about image.
Yeah.
Yeah, so trying to craft.
Can't grow old.
Yeah, we're trying to craft a brand. And we're constantly trying to convince people that the brand that in our doings, for those of you guys who are actors, that we put forward into the world most often is basically what our brand is. I'm the happy-go-lucky joker. I'm the sad sack nobody. I'm the aggressive guy no one wants to fuck with. You know, like, no, you're a child of God. No, you actually got all these emotions. You know? No, there's actually all this stuff going on in you. And you're like, I'm a dude, I'm the man. I'm the man, like, I got this covered, right? So who's willing to give up their facade? Well, I'm demonstrating at the moment that I am, to some degree. Not completely. But more. Yeah, because I don't want to fuck around. Basically, I don't want to keep living in a facade version of myself. I'm like, no, the real me is actually like getting more and more beautiful, and I don't want to be a fake me. I want to be the real me and be like, I love. I want to love, I want to give.
I think there's certain parts of the facade, you know what I mean? There's so many different like facades.
There are
There's
so
100 different
okay.
facades.
This is a good point. So there are a lot of different facades. You have a facade with your dad. You have a facade with your mum. And then when the both of them together in the same room, you're like, you have a facade with your school friends, you have a facade with your old school friends, and then they're all together, and you're like, well, what do I do? Where do I go? Like, how do I be here? I'll just be even more extroverted than normal. You know, like, or I have a facade with my partner, and then I have a facade with everyone who doesn't know that I'm gay. Right? Like we have different facades. We have a lot of different facades that we show different parts of the world. You know, you get in a taxi with a real blokey bloke, new facade comes straight on.
Fuck, oh my god.
Yeah.
I have a facade every phone call I make.
That's right.
I made
Because you're
30 today.
Yeah. So you're constantly seeking out, how do I build a facade to like play to your addictions here?
Yeah.
And sell you a version of myself that you're gonna like.
Yeah.
That's what we're always doing. We're always trying to sell a version of ourselves that the other person's going to like. So, where does that come from?
Fear.
The version that we are was rejected when we were younger. It was never approved of, and it was demanded that we deny truth and create a false version of ourselves to serve the people in charge of our environment, which is our mum and dad mainly, people at school, teachers. Yeah. You will always admit your feelings. You'll be honest about what you feel. Even if you don't feel what you feel, you'll at least be honest about it. People are like, you're jealous, and you're like, no, I'm not. I'd be jealous of that. Like, if you're actually jealous, like, you're jealous, like, but you don't even want to admit it. If you love yourself, you're going to admit how you feel. You know, if you walk past someone, you project sexually at them, you're like, nah, I wasn't really a projection. Like, was it? No, it must just be spirits, it's not me.
Oh, shit.
I don't want to own, no, it's fine, right? Do this all the time. You won't minimize problems or projections. So you won't minimize it. You won't try and minimize and be like, oh yeah, I've just got this little issue with rage with sexually violent men. It's only a small issue, but I'm not really that angry. Just sometimes. Just if I see it like right in my face and I get a bit annoyed. But it's okay. Doesn't really come up that much. Like, it's probably not really a big issue. Yeah, right? 2 minutes later, a guy comes past, he's like, hey, he's like, yeah, I'm fine. No, you're not. You will desire truth over error. If you love yourself, you'll desire truth over error. I think that's beautiful. Because you'll be like, there are times when you're like this, and you've got a choice now. Do I choose to engage truth and engage loving laws, or do I choose to just go into denial? We get presented with multiple versions of that every single day. So I'm going to engage truth, yes, if I love myself. Can you see how actually loving yourself is quite different to what we thought it was at the beginning of this process? And as far as the world concerns, as far as the average person in this planet is concerned, the truth, what loving yourself really looks like from the average person's perspective, is fucking terrifying. It's something that almost nobody wants to engage on this planet. And that's why almost no one on this planet wants to love themselves. And even though they say they do, you look at the effects in their life, they don't. You will seek out internal error and attempt to remove it. So you'll be on the hunt for error inside of yourself. And you want it gone. And it doesn't matter what you have to go through to get it. You want truth so much that it's like, yep, error's got to go. That will be your attitude towards error if you love yourself. That error's got to go. It's got a shelf life and it's already out of date. It's time to go. That's all right. You will desire God's truth on all matters to enter your heart. Yeah. I could almost just stop right there, really. You will desire God's truth on every matter to enter your heart. That's what like a relationship with God, that's one of the two big parts of what a relationship with God's all about. Yeah.
Now Matt, this stuff that you're saying, almost like this checklist, right?
Yep.
Is this some level 8 stuff? Or is this just like, man, it's some, like your level 4 stuff? Like, what are we talking?
So I'm going to address the motivation of your question, which is, do I have to really try and do all of this at once?
Yes, man, dude, that's a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sooner you start with every single thing on all of these checklists, the better it is for you. You can learn any of these lessons. It's just do you want to?
Yeah.
You can be completely engaged in this process. You know, the more engaged you are with it, the faster you'll grow. And it's scary because you're like, what the fuck's going to happen to my life in the meantime?
Yeah.
Well, as Haley and I can tell you, your life's just going to get better. Oh, that's terrible, isn't it? So if I engage these laws, because they're really confronting and it seems like there's so much to do, the only bad effect is going to be that my life gets better.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want that.
Right? Yeah, because it's like, oh God, there's so much. No, don't try and intellectually be like, oh, I need to do all of these things. Yeah, because and that's why like some of the people who've been coming along, they're acting lately. Our pulse has kind of gone a bit inward because they're intellectually trying to be a more loving version of themselves instead of just being the raw, real. This is me. This is where I'm at. Yeah, just keeping it real. I had real issues with this at first when I was at Pulse, and then I started to change, and I was like, I've just got to be that ugly version of myself. just the ugly version of me, whatever that is, just out. Yeah. All right, one more. Getting there. It's 10:11, so I'll probably stop now. Okay, a couple more, and we'll leave desire to next week. You will take action on God's truths. If you love yourself, you won't just desire to have truth in your heart. You will take action on those truths. Yes, babe.
If you hear error in another conversation, aka eavesdropping, that loving.
What, to interject?
Yeah.
When you're connected to yourself emotionally, and you can feel if you have a loving motivation underneath what you're doing, you'll feel whether you're breaking, you'll feel feedback from God's laws to let you know whether you're breaking it. Because the instant we break God's laws, there's an instant penalty upon our soul. That's how God's designed this system. So all of these laws that I'm talking about, every moment that we're breaking it, we're accruing more pain as a result. It's like we're leaving our hand on a hot stove for even longer. Yeah, it's going to get worse. Yeah, so stuff like that, experiment. If you feel like I lovingly want to assist these people right now, I feel, take action. Yeah. I do it.
And see what happens.
See what happens. I do it a lot when I've been driving Uber.
Yeah.
People having a conversation, I'm like, particularly because it's my car as well. I'm like, all right. I'm like, that's just, nah. Okay, let's talk. And I just say, if you do that, you're really going to hurt yourself and other people as well. And just offer truth. So what you can do is offer the opportunity to receive truth, and then see if they take you up at the opportunity. Yes?
In that scenario, how do you know whether, and this is what I've sort of been struggling with, it's like, how do you know when you have truth, or is it just an arrogant sort of intellectual thing that you have in your mind?
No, you feel it in your heart wholeheartedly.
But how do you know when you feel it in your heart? Because my feeling of what I feel in your heart could be different to yours. It could be like, maybe that's not what truth is, and I can't go I don't trust myself to be I want to provide that in a loving way, because that's not really what the truth is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So how do you know whether what you're about to share with a person, for instance, is just your opinion or whether it's God's truth?
Yes.
The major part of that is because you've received it from God directly.
Yeah.
So as error leaves your heart, you can actually have a longing for truth to enter you, and you actually feel truth enter you from God. And then at some point, like, and it'll be this really beautiful emotional process, and then usually you'll have some kind of realization. Also, sorry.
No, yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Also, when something of God's truth cements inside of you, it just changes you. I can't explain it. I can't really explain it. It just like it's like if you're in a neighborhood, it's like this beautiful, wonderful, loving family has just moved into one of the houses or something. And it's just like, yeah, it's effortless. It's painless. There is no consternation, there is no demand, there is no neediness about the truth. Like, you're just happy for the truth to exist inside of you, and you do want to take action on it, and you're not afraid of taking action on it. Yeah, you wanted to add something, Sally?
I was gonna say, like, I guess for me there's a couple of ways. Like, there's one where you actually have had a personal experience, like a personal, real tangible experience that is like absolutely like scientifically proven fact to you now, you know, that like that experience was so real, and it's like basically, you know, build your faith in that one particular subject. So there's the actual real tangible, real life experience that you've had, where you now know the truth in your heart. Like, it's just like a fact. And then there's the other part where it's mostly intellectual, where you may not know it yet. It's something that you like have faith in that could happen one day.
Yeah.
You haven't yet experienced it. There are times when, you know, like you can just say like to somebody, well, I don't know this yet for sure, but this is what I've learned, this is what I've heard, and this is what I'm experimenting with.
The reason I ask is when you say that, like, relationship with God, you receive truth and stuff, I mean, there's like a language there, like a way of communication, right? That we try and speak to God in that way and receive with God that way. And at times I doubt myself when it's like when I try and engage with God, and I ask for maybe strength, or I ask for a sign or guidance and stuff, or I ask maybe an answer directly to a question. Do I trust the answer that He's giving me, because it's like encrypted in my emotional state or my understanding of my state of love will either
so what you can do is experiment.
Okay.
And the more you experiment, you realize the times that it was just you.
Yeah.
The times that it was like potentially some kind of spirit influence.
Because that's what I mean. Because I mean, so the point.
Don't be afraid of making a mistake.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
But be willing to reflect.
Yes.
Particularly when like you've done it, and then even if you don't receive a negative feedback from the person, something just feels off now in you, and like. Yeah. Because
there's times where like I feel like this is like you can't describe what you know. Like, remember that time we were in the Uber and you were talking about God and you touched the top of my head, and I felt the feeling, you know, it's like goosebumps that goes through my whole body, right? And it was a pleasant feeling, right? Do you remember that? Yeah. That's how I know, okay, that's the good stuff, right? And at times I'm trying to speak to my friend Tom, I'm driving and I'll sort of like open up, and then I'll open myself to it, and I can feel the goosebumps through my body, and that's the part I can feel it now, you know. But there's times where like, oh, I answer something and it's just nothing. Yeah. And I don't know what. Yeah. So just keep experimenting with that.
Yeah, keep experimenting. And often when we don't get an answer from God, it's because the question that we're asking, God's responding to the motivation for our question.
Yes.
Not what we think, what we're demanding the question is.
Cool. That makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. Quite often when I'm assisting a person, I'll feel at a certain point like I'll be working because I've got an instinct in my soul. Don't even necessarily know what it is intellectually. I'm just like, yeah, there's this. Okay. And then like as we're getting closer and closer, at a certain point I feel from God God's sentiment about the truth of the situation and God's sentiment about you, how he feels personally about you. God shares his feelings about you, about how he feels about you with me.
I remember that.
So then at those moments, actually, like I'm actually able to be at that moment with you on this subject, completely at one with God. Well, maybe not completely, but at one, I guess, with God on that subject in that moment, because you feel this loving feeling coming from God and God's exact sentiment about you at that time. And it's this amazing feeling of love, and like to feel how much God loves one of your brothers and sisters. It's like unbelievable, and it gives you so much faith that God loves. Because it's not when you're mixed up and you've got all these other emotions going on, and then you're feeling love from God and you're crying, and like you still know definitely that you just felt something from God. But when you feel God's sentiment about someone else, and it just comes when you have a really loving desire to truly love that person, that's amazing. That's so beautiful. Yeah. God's so interactive. That's what we don't understand most of the time. We don't think that he's trying to interact with us, but he is. Every moment of every day, he wants to interact with us. He's ready for this to be a constant conversation, to and fro, back and forth. What's this? What's this? I feel this. I feel this. Like, God is the guidebook for life. And it sounds kind of like preachy, but the personal relationship that you can develop with God is such that God doesn't consider it to be cheating just to be able to receive truth from God at any point. And God wants you to experience truth. He doesn't want to just like, oh, you get it and you know it and you're cool, I'm done. No, God wants you to go through an experience to discover for yourself. Like when I asked God, who's my soulmate? God's like, who do you, like, what do you feel? Put the question back to me. Because, he wanted me to experience something. Basically. Yeah. So every response that God gives you is always the best response possible at this exact moment that you can possibly get. He gives it to you. The best piece of information that you could possibly receive in this moment, based on how open you are, how desirous you are, you'll receive it from God right now. You are receiving it from God right now. The more desirous you are, and the more open you are to being sensitive to it, you will actually feel it more and more, and you're like, oh wow, this is going on all the time. What the? Yeah. 2 more, and then we'll finish up for today. Thanks guys, you've done really well. No more excusable white lies. So you know how you got black lies and then you got white lies? God's like, no, you've got lie or you got truth. There's no white lies and black lies. Every lie is a black lie. Now, having said that, if someone asks you a question and they want to take the truth and then stab you with it, you can stay in truth by choosing not to answer that person. Or responding and be like, you want to attack and hurt me with the answer, so I'm not going to tell you. I'm addressing your motivation, like God addresses the motivation. Yeah. So who has issues? Yes, Peter?
Santa Claus? Is that a white lie?
It's a white lie. So if you love yourself, you're not going to tell your kids any lies about the Easter Bunny, about the Tooth Fairy, about any of those things, because they're lies. It's an unloving thing to do to your child, to lie to them. And we think, oh, it's this fantasy thing. See, now you're very, very connected with the fantasy worlds because you've believed all of your life, because your personal life has been such a terrible mess, and your home environment has been so destructively, like emotionally destructive, that you've believed that the loving thing to do is to exist in multiple different fantasy worlds. No. There's lots of reasons why he's a good actor. Yeah. So that's going to be one to confront. Yeah.
What do you think about though if like Santa Claus is real in regards to the concept of Santa Claus itself is real? Not saying Santa Claus himself is real, but that idea of Santa Claus is real.
Well, an idea exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is an idea of Santa that exists. So
Yeah.
I'd explain to my child.
Yeah.
And like if my child was too young to understand, I'd be like, no, Santa Claus is not real. And then afterwards I would explain, once they had the intellectual capacity to understand more, then I'd explain and say, actually there is a spirit of Santa in a kind of weird sort of way in the world.
Yeah.
And people
that's
believe in it.
truth.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people believe in it, and
Yeah.
people act on it, and they act in a certain thing and give gifts and stuff like that.
So it's, because I feel like Santa Claus is real, but within the understanding of what Santa Claus is.
Often we want to hold on to a feeling like Santa Claus is real because there's some pain that we're avoiding underneath still, even though we intellectually say Santa's not real. Emotionally we're like, I still want to hold on to something here. I still want to hold on to some kind of false definition of love. Like my false definition of love that story time with my mum was love. Or riding my horse, riding Blackbutt with, that's the horse's name, with my dad is love. And it wasn't. Yeah.
So with the whole like Saint Nick stuff.
Yep. So there was a Saint Nicholas, right? And he did have some slaves that like helped him give out presents to people and things.
Oh right. Because I was told like there was this guy that like left presents around the village at all the doorsteps or whatever.
Yep.
One of the nights or whatever. That's where the metaphor of like Saint Nick came.
Yeah. So you can give full details and explain the reason, as much as they're obviously intellectually like able to understand. But there is no Santa that flies around on a sleigh.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. And I think like that's the for me.
And I'm
like,
not sorry, kids. I'm glad you know the truth, you know?
My brother was like, yeah, please give me more. But
Yeah.
I get the like the addiction of the magic of Santa, you know, like
Yeah.
you know.
Who wants to believe in magic? Like a not real version of magic?
Yeah. Heavily
No, I don't. Yeah.
Just one more thing.
Yes.
Just because I'm still trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
How would we say then that, like, us saying yes, Saint Nick existed, is like in any way different from saying Santa Claus exists? In insofar as
It depends on what it gives you emotionally.
okay. And that's why I'm getting confused because I feel like then
I'm not looking so much at the physical details of, I'm looking at the motivation underneath.
okay.
So for instance, if there's something that was really beautiful for us about Christmas and the idea of a benevolent Santa, we will try and find ways to hold on to the good feelings that we had about that. Because we're like, well, why should they have to be extinguished? I felt something was really lovely then. You know, I felt like there were some really beautiful things part of that, part of Christmas, part of whatever.
I want to throw a tangent with them.
Because you're not going to get Christmas the way you want it anymore?
It's just like, you know, I never got anything with anyone ever in my whole life, but it's like, Santa got me stuff. Santa loved me.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, it was your parents that bought you those things.
My dad didn't even spell Santa Claus properly. He said it's from the South Pole.
Yeah. I found I like broke into underneath the stairs. We had like a Harry Potter. We had a Harry Potter room in our house, and I used to go in there sometimes. But Mum used to hide the Christmas presents in there. And like eventually, like I saw one thing like weeks before sticking out, like some pole, and then a pole from Santa, and I was like, there's the light. It's like when I was emptying the ashes from our wood fire, one time I found some of my teeth in there, and I was like, oh, there's the light. You know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Teeth? What did Santa do with it?
No, I'm talking about the teeth fairy. right. Yeah.
We used to throw our teeth. We used to say this ritual, and
Yeah.
then throw your tooth on the roof.
I'm going to stop you, Nikki, because you really
Sorry,
like
I'm
to...
saying.
No, the reason no, you're not just saying.
No, I'm not just saying.
You want to
Right,
relive...
yeah.
The reason that I'm bringing it up is that you want to relive a false moment of joy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, people having goodwill towards other people is a beautiful thing. You know, that's not bad. Having a genuine desire to give to other people, that's not bad. You know, doing it because it's Christmas, putting on a facade, and then having all the children believe that everyone in the family likes each other or whatever. That's really not so healthy. And yet often we tell ourselves, well, that was better than the rest of all the other days. At least I got something, at least this, at least that. And it's like, well, was it really? Like, I got a gift today from Bede, you know? But like, that was just because Bede had a loving desire to give me something. It wasn't because of Christmas or birthday or anything. That wasn't Bede. Is this a late Christmas present? Are you trying to make me feel Christmas cheer? Yeah. I think there's one more thing on our list, and then that's it, we're done. You will never obscure your heart from the world.
What is obscure? Sorry.
Hide it.
Hide.
And that was your note last time we
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll never obscure your real heart from the world. You'll always be willing to display your sentiment about everything.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
And you won't just have a feeling that I know truth, I can feel it, and I'm just going to kind of whisper it. You want to give of yourself. You know, you have a desire to give your heart to others. So we covered three. We got through three today. We got through the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, and
Laws of the perception of the truth.
the laws pertaining to truth.
And the last Skywalker, Star Wars.
What?
Because it's such a big title.
Oh, right.
It's like a long Star Wars title.
It is a bit like that, isn't it? Yeah.
You know when you said grayscale?
Yeah.
We all laughed and you all thought the joke was something about black and white. I literally thought about we were laughing at Sajora.
All right.
I thought
Oh, that's where the joke was going. No,
just like,
no, I wasn't that.
No.
Yeah. So we're going to finish now. You guys did well to sit through 2 sessions about loving yourself. Most people are completely cooked and they completely switch off. Now you guys got triggered and affected and you know, felt a bit overcome and with certain resistance and stuff. But you know, you stayed connected and you stayed engaged, which is really good. Don't be afraid to passionately engage this. Don't hold back, Alana. You know, just be willing. Just be. Let's get it out. Let's just have it. Let's have the argument. Have the conversation. Talk about an issue. Don't be afraid to raise it. If there is any environment on earth where it's encouraged to do that, this is it. This is the environment where this is the one that you want to more than any other environment. This is the perfect one for you to do it. So do it. Yes.
I remember you saying last week after you absorbed so much truth and content about this.
Yeah.
At times it's a bit too much to take a break.
Yep.
Is this session the last session before sort of mid-semester break, or is there going to be a session next week as well? Because I remember you saying we might take a break from stuff. So
No. I'm at this point. I feel like I want to keep going. I feel like particularly people that are here and some of the people who are not have a desire.
cool.
You know, still have a desire for more truth. If I feel like overall the group just doesn't have a desire, I won't. And if I feel like only 3 or 4 people have a desire, then then 3 or 4 people can keep coming along. That's totally fine.